There you go. You are now live. Woo! Good morning. How's everybody doing? How you doing, Karen, Jennifer?
Good morning, Delinda and Karen.
Like, nice. All right, I'm going to get over here in the chat box if I can here real quick and say hi to everybody. So, Jennifer, do a little quick intro here while I get us set up for the chat box.
Okay, just about myself. Is that what you kind of want? Or what do you
want? Or just the usual hellos,
okay,
whatever.
well, yeah, definitely good morning to everybody. Always, we appreciate you joining us. And we're so excited today. When you catch Karen in a weak moment, she says yes. And we love that about her. But again, like I said earlier to before we went live, how do you say no to Delinda when she asks you to do something? So I just, again, want to thank everybody for being here. And Karen, I'm going to let you kind of introduce yourself if you don't mind.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm happy to be on here today. I'm Karen Reyes, and I am married with 2 grown sons, 1 stepson, and 4 blood grandchildren and 2 bonus grandchildren. So busy.
Very busy.
My son and his family of 6 are on a vacation right now, road tripping to Myrtle Beach.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's a nice area. I've only been there once.
Her family's in Georgia, so then they're going to Myrtle Beach for a few days, and then to Georgia to spend time with her family.
Nice.
It is. We have Kathy on this morning. Good morning, Kathy.
Good
nice
morning.
to see you. And anybody else out there want to say a quick hello to us before we get in? We're going to be talking about dads today. You know, we just had Father's Day. And I don't know about you guys. I don't know. I think the whole stay home, pandemic, whatever we've been in, has my dates in my brain all mixed up. It's like it's sort of just Saturday night. It's like, oh, tomorrow's Father's Day. I mean, that's really bad, you know, because my husband is like this great dad. And the first year, I hate to even admit it, the first year I didn't even get him a card. I mean, this is so bad. So anyway, so we're going to talk about dads today, you know, as a little overshoot from Father's Day. And let's see, Laura Christine, good morning. Nice to have you. And interesting, I can't seem to type in the chat box, so I won't be typing, but at least I can read your comments, and that's the most important. So I love that. And so Karen, well, you just told us a little bit about you, but tell us, where were you raised? Are you always been from Kansas City, or what's your history?
Born and raised right here in Johnson County.
Wow.
We did move away for 9 months. We moved to Indiana when I was just getting out of middle school and going to high school. And I was the only one in the family that liked it. But my dad knew we were coming back because he never gave up his Chiefs tickets or anything. So we just spent a short stint. His company got bought out, and so he went out to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I absolutely loved it there. Made the best friends, and then got uprooted and came back here and went to the high school that I would have gone to before we left for the end of the semester. And then when they bought a house, they bought it out south further, and I went to a different high school, which is where I met my ex-husband.
Ah, gotcha. You know, all roads lead somewhere, right? So, but how we wind up where we are. And yeah, what about you? I don't think we've ever had you tell us about where were you born and raised and all that.
Oh, for me, I was actually born in Dodge City, Kansas. We were out there for a few years, and then we moved to central Kansas, just north of Great Bend, a little town called Hoisington. And I went to school there my entire until I graduated. And then my parents moved to Wichita, and I had an amazing opportunity with a company at the time. It was called Duckwall Alco. If you're from here in Kansas area, you remember that chain. They were opening stores in Iowa, and I had an opportunity to be a manager and open 3 stores up there for them. Crazy turn of events puts me back out by Dodge City, where I met my husband and left that job. And then we ended up in, again, a crazy roundabout way up here in Kansas City, and we love it. So
yeah, and you live in Kansas City, Kansas.
Yep, we're in Kansas City, Kansas, the other one that nobody talks about.
A kind of historic neighborhood or something, right? Because I know you have this old historic house. And
yes, we're in a very historic neighborhood, one of the first ones here in the state of Kansas, and beautiful vintage homes built we have a Victorian, and then we have up until some mid-century moderns. A lot of famous architects actually built this neighborhood. So it's a pretty cool place to be. I really love it.
Yay, that's cool. Well, we hear about different parts of town, and that's one you don't hear too much about. And I know that you love your neighborhood, and you're really ingrained with your neighbors and all that. So
they are amazing people. I truly, truly love it here.
Yeah, for those of you in Kansas City who ever want to do like a coffee chat or something with Jennifer, you really should do that, because she has some amazing stories of climbing on roofs. And y'all know she's with American Family Insurance, and she takes what she does very seriously. She is so good to her customers. She is just, you just be a great neighbor no matter what. So
thank you.
Absolutely. And then Karen, I think you've been doing some rehab or some changes, decorating during this whole time, right?
Yeah, we're still working on our bedroom. New carpet's coming Friday. So
yay!
Hopefully Humpty Dumpty will get put back together pretty soon. It's been, all our furniture's out in our dining room and our hallway, and we have a bed and a TV in the bedroom right now. So. But yeah, it's been a long adventure. I'm ready for it.
Yeah. It's like, as exciting as it is when you start that kind of thing, it usually unrolls a whole lot different than you anticipated, right? And one project turns into about 10. It's
yep.
Like, how does that, even when I don't know about you guys, even when I clean the garage, I mess up 5 rooms in the house, because I carry things in, and then these have to be put away over there. And that's not even really redecorating. That's not the fun part. But when you're painting and carpeting and all, that does. So anyway, I know that has nothing to do with Father's Day or Dad's, but this is how we roll on these Tuesday mornings. This is our girlfriend's coffee chat. I saw you had to I cut my coffee, my favorite cup. All right, so let's see here. So let's, Jennifer, why don't you start out, because I know you're totally comfortable chatting about things, and then that also will make Karen more comfortable. Tell us a little bit about your dad. What was it like growing up? Tell us about your dad.
So my dad was the youngest of 7 children, and was an amazing, amazing father figure, an amazing man in my life. Was always there for us. He worked very hard. And some of my favorite memories are when he had his own business and I would go help him over and doing things after school and in the evenings and such, as he was starting to get that kind of launched. But one thing I remember is that if we had anything tied into school, that there was an extracurricular activity or whatever, that's where all of his vacation days went. He was always there for us. We didn't actually take family vacations, but I think it's partially because he spent so much time being there with us and throwing the ball and teaching my sister how to long jump and just all of those kind of things. And so he is someone that I wish I could still pick up the phone and call. We lost him 12 years ago to cancer, and it's a huge void in our family, but there's a lot of kernels of wisdom that seem to rise to the surface at the appropriate time. So I know he's still there guiding us through.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what about you, Karen? Tell us a little bit about your dad.
Well, when we were little, he used to take my mom and her parents and my sister and I, and we would go on antiquing road trips. And he hated antiques. So he would take my sister and I off, and we would go do something else while my grandparents and my mom went antiquing. So I remember those days, in long car rides, like up to the New England areas and stuff like that. He loved coloring Easter eggs with us and the grandkids. And the one thing I'm most sad about is that he never got a chance to meet his great grandchildren. So that makes me sad. But he was an avid golfer. Oh my gosh, that he played all the time. He was a snowbird in Florida, so he played like all the time. And he loved seashells, walking the beach. And we would get up at like 6 a.m. in the morning with our flashlights and go out to the beach looking for seashells. And so when my mom would be mad at us and we'd be sitting down for dinner and she'd try to get my dad to discipline us, all we'd have to do is like say peace, and he'd just start laughing, and my mom was so mad. I was close to my dad. He lived until the day he died, though. Actually, he had a hernia, and so they took him off his Coumadin so that they could do surgery. And within like 6 days, he had a blood clot and fell down, and that was the end. So, I mean, he literally he'd gone to the grocery store, came home, went downstairs to his office, and fell over, and that was it. I mean, he was a very good role model, especially for my children. My son still loves wearing his polyester shirts and clothes and pants and stuff. So great man, very much a giver. So yeah, I miss him every day.
Yeah. And so Father's Day might be a little hard for you then. Well, all three of us have lost our fathers. Or I guess we're not supposed to say lost, but our fathers are no longer with us.
I don't like that word lost, because if we lost them, we'd go find them.
Yeah, and if we could find them, that'd be great. That's right. Yeah, so my dad passed away in 2001, cancer as well. I really love my dad, but my dad was not really a great dad. I hate to say that, but like I said, for me as his daughter, I really didn't have any issues. He really always supported me. He was the one always sing for the relatives, and it would put me so on the spot. Just like, at 7 years old, what am I supposed to sing, Dad? Jesus Loves Me. I guess I think I sang Jesus Loves Me all the time, because at 7, I didn't know too many songs. So as far as that, to me, as an encourager, he was great, and he loved his girls. And I think he loved us all, but my dad was an alcoholic. And so that, if you know anything about alcoholics, he was up and down, but he was very charismatic. Everybody loved him. He was a tall, good-looking man. I remember dancing with my dad, and, the little girl pictures of, standing on his feet. So I have lots of great memories like that. But I know some of you out there, and I don't know who all's watching today, some of y'all did not have good dad. You didn't have a good role model. And what we've seen through time is that my dad, by the time he passed away, he had changed a lot in his life. He was, my mom and dad got divorced, which was the best thing they could have ever done. It was just not a healthy marriage. So then we all began to have kind of our own separate relationships with him, as opposed to part of that family dynamic. So some of you out there may be in those situations. And so maybe there's other men in your life that have been role models, have been mentors. Lots of times, men at church could be a neighbor who turned out to be a great mentor, or a father figure, in your life, whatever it is. So I think it's a good time for us to look at those people in our lives, not just our family, not just our birth fathers or fathers that we were raised with, but what other men in our lives have had a good influence on us and have been a mentor. The thing that really shocked me is as we began to have kids, Bill and I, Bill would do some of the most amazing things, and I'd say, "You were just such a great dad." And he said, "Well, honey, this is the way it's supposed to be." It's like, well, I didn't know that. I never saw that. And my dad was in the Air Force, so he was also gone a lot. So let me just be fair. And, guys, I'm always just going to be real with you. So I'm not trying to bash my dad. I'm just trying to be honest with you that that's the way life was. And in a household with an alcoholic, there was emotional abuse to my mother, not physical, but it was there. And of course, when he was drinking, nobody wanted to be around him anyway. Although he was what do you call a friendly drunk for the most part as time got on. But as he got older, that changed, and he became more of a moderate personality and not so much of this highs and lows. But my brother was the one that really got the brunt of it, because he was great with his girls, but he had certain expectations of the boy in the family and my brother. And he actually was mean to my brother. He just He just wasn't kind until later. Again, later in his life, by the time he hit about 65, 70, he began to change. So there's always hope. Okay, there's always hope. But like I said, Bill was the one who really showed me what it was like to have a great dad, because of how I watched him be the father to our kids. And now Justin is just an amazing dad. And y'all know he's got his stepdaughter who's 16. And then he has his new little girl who's 18 months now. And I mean, to watch them together is the coolest thing ever, 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 ever. And I think, Karen, you have a couple of sons that have turned into pretty great dads too, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah, my ex-husband was not a nice man, really. And my mom gave us 6 months to stay married. So I stayed for almost 15 years to try to prove her wrong. But I finally got divorced the year before she died, so she got to see it. But yeah, he was abusive physically and mentally to me. And he would try to, like when he had the kids on the weekends and stuff, he would try to pit them against me and tell them how worthless I was and all this stuff. And then once they got out of high school, he would go to all the football games and do that. But then once they got out of high school, he pretty much had very little to do with them because the football wasn't there anymore. So he did not help them at all during college or anything. Dustin's going to be 36 and Kyle is going to be 35. And I can't even remember the last time they really saw him. And he hasn't even met some of the grandkids. I don't even know if he knows about the newest one. It's his loss, absolutely. And I've never tried to get my children to stay away from him or anything. But he's just a lonely, mean old man, you know. And his dad was kind of that way too until he became a grandpa. And then he was a really good grandpa. He did everything for my kids. And when I got divorced, if it hadn't been for my ex-in-laws, I don't know what I would have done. And to this day, I still talk to his parents or invite him over. And
really?
Yeah, his mom and I share a birthday, so we're similar. And we're both nurturers and stuff like that. And right now she's not doing too well, which is sad. But my kids have turned out to be the total opposite of their dad, which makes me very happy. My son Dustin has 2 little girls, and they are wrapped around his face. Oh my gosh, it's almost sick. I mean, like really. And he wanted a boy, but he didn't get one, so he got 2 girls like my dad did. And then my other son, he has a 6-year-old with an ex-wife, and then he said he was never going to get married again. And he found Heather, and he wrote me a sweet letter and told me he was getting married. And she had at the time 8-year-old twins, which there's talk of adoption, but right now the option isn't right there because money and things like that. But he has taken them in as his own. They don't know their father. And now he and his wife have a 4.5-month-old little boy. So their family's complete. And he devotes his life to those kids. So.
That's beautiful, especially because so often that doesn't happen. You know?
I know. And I still call the twins my bonus grandkids because, you know, I'm not going to lie. My favorite's my 6-year-old, you know, boy, Vince. He has my heart. And then the girls, because I had boys. And so I just do better with boys than girls. These girls, they are too sassy and, yeah, I like boys better.
Well, I guess we hope they're not watching this morning, right?
No, they're not.
But I will, girls and boys are different. I mean, just how we relate to them as parents and, you know, even just our own kids and the grandkids, I don't know yet, you know, because mine are still too little in the young age. You know, Henry, I love him to pieces, but, you know, then I don't live with them every day. So I don't see all the sassiness and stuff that might go on because I don't see them as much. So from the grandkids standpoint, but I know, just raising a girl and a boy, you just do it different because they're so darn different.
I just bought Sloan a book, and it's called My Way or the Highway, and it's a children's book. It was written for strong-willed girls. I have not given it to her yet. I think her mother will probably be mad at me, but just to show that it doesn't always have to be her way. That she needs to think of others, and because she's pretty strong-willed. So is her mother. Her mother's very strong-willed, and so yeah.
Well, and of course, being all three of us strong women, that that turns into something really good as they get older if they learn how to balance that. Because in our day, probably in every day, I mean, women have to be strong. We have to be able to have our own opinions, to be able to step out and take charge when things need to be, when we need to take charge. And any of us, like somebody else that's on the thing this morning, who have a little bit of control issues, but that phrase wasn't around when I was young, but my mother has told me numerous times that she sometimes just didn't know what to do with me. I mean, I just wanted, and I thought I was grown. I mean, literally, when I was 12 years old, I thought I was an adult. I didn't need a babysitter. I didn't need anybody taking care of me. I was certainly fine to take care of myself, so, my kids kind of get that. Alicia's, she's been a strong-willed child, for sure. And she's doing great now, but she's, it can help you go one way or the other. So it's nice when we can help, what do you say, kind of help monitor that and show them another way. But I haven't seen that book. I'd be interested in seeing that myself.
I don't remember where I saw it. It was an interview. It might have been Home and Family, but yeah. So my niece, she has 2 little girls, and the oldest is like 2, and they were here visiting a few weeks ago. And the little girl she's 2, and she was just like taking my 6-year-old grandson around and go, come here, come here, come here. So I was telling her about the book, and she goes, we might need one of those too. So I bought her one too. And actually, I think we're going to see her tonight. So she lives in Omaha, so I can give her that tonight.
Oh, cool. So Jennifer, we've been doing a lot of talking, and you haven't had a chance. So
you know me, I'm a storyteller, but I love listening to stories. I think that is always amazing and wonderful. One thing Karen said that I think is really neat, that you talked about how your ex-father-in-law was a really great grandfather. And I've seen that in people that struggled in the father role, but the grandfather role is something they get a second chance at. And sometimes the pressure isn't there. They don't have the spousal relationship that may or may not be working right, or other things happening. Plus, you're at a different stage in life. I've seen a lot of people that are in that situation that maybe they weren't the best father, but wow, they're amazing grandfathers. And I think that's a neat redemption story that we have that opportunity to do that. And my dad was a great grandfather also. He adored the grandchildren. And that is one thing that I when I look at him, I wrote a piece a couple of years ago. And I listed out all of our family members and what I saw in them that was from my dad, because I believe that we give gifts when we pass on. The inheritance isn't money. It isn't things. It's personalities and it's memories. So I actually went through and I challenge everyone to do that. Look at the people in your life and look at the qualities that they brought in from a grandparent or a parent that is no longer with them, that you still see in them, and let them know that, because my one nephew has the best sense of humor that I know he got from my dad. That is 100% my dad. And I think that's pretty cool. So definitely.
That is. Karen, you just sent me a message. Yeah. Say something. Let me see if I can hear you. She said she lost her sound.
Oh, goodness.
So which means she can't see me. So there. Okay. So you can't hear me? Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I lost my sound.
Okay. Well, I can hear you. So you can talk. Yeah. So, and I can't even put a little thing in the chat box.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, gosh, we are down to 5 minutes. So, okay. So, Kathy, since I know you're on, would you type a number? I can't seem to type in the box today. would you just type a message to Karen telling her does she have any last thoughts she would like to add this morning? And see if she can read it. So, Jennifer, can you read the chat box?
I don't see it on my screen how I have it set up. I see if I can type a message, but I can't see the messages. So,
all right, I know what to do. I'll send Karen a message on my phone.
Okay.
How's that? Don't you love multiple technology?
It works. Well, I'm gonna read this quote. I was looking for something that would remind me of my dad, and there was this little piece I found out on Pinterest. It said, "A father is neither an anchor that holds us back or a sail that's going to take us there. He is meant to be a guiding light whose love will show us the way." And that was 100% my dad's philosophy as a father, that he felt that if us three girls never left the neighborhood, that he didn't succeed. His goal was to show us how to spread our wings and live our own lives, that it was not his life to lead. And that is how I am attempting to be as a parent with my daughter. As much as I want her to stay with me and be with me, near me all the time, it's not her journey. It's not her life. And so that is something I have taken from my dad. And I think it's a great philosophy.
That is. And that really is cool. If you want to post that somewhere.
I will do that.
Yeah, that would be nice. And Kathy says she can hear all of us, but Karen cannot. So Karen, take a look on the thing.
I just want to say, you know what? And especially in this time, love hard, and just love your family, raise your children the right way. I just gave some advice to a pregnant mom, and I said just love them and teach them right and wrong, and hopefully they'll turn out to be good. So,
well, I think when we love, you can never go wrong. I mean, absolutely, and it is loving our kids. And I know you can't hear me, Karen, but I'm going to say it to you. I really admire the fact that you kept relationship open for your kids. Maybe later she can go back and hear this. But one of the things she told me last week, we were in a group thing, and she said, I've forgiven my ex-husband because he gave me such beautiful children, and it just was a beautiful thing that, she could look past the hurt and all of the things that went on in that bad relationship and the abuse. I mean, she admitted it on here today, and she can forgive and she can move on because her children, I mean, the blessing of her own children, and now to see her sons as such good role models and fathers. So, and love and forgiveness are two biggies right there, just in everything we do, being open to forgive those that have hurt us in the past or in the current, whatever might be going on. So anyway, I love what you shared, Jennifer. Thank you. And I say post that on there. All of you who are joining, who have joined us and who will join us later, we hope you had a little time of reflection this morning. I remember I watched a movie this weekend called The Right Stuff about the astronauts. For some reason, because I guess the launch that recently happened, I kind of back into thinking about the space program and all of that. And my dad and I went to see that in the movie theater when it first came out back in whenever that was, the 60s, I think. Could have been the 70s. I don't even know, but doesn't matter. He and I went to the movie and we saw it. My dad and I went to see that in the movie theater when it first came out back in whenever that
she
was.
has it on her phone.
Oh, got
the 70s.
So the thing that was so cool is as I was watching it this weekend, remembering sitting in the movie theater with my dad. My dad was a navigator in the Air Force. And so a lot of
I was trying to watch on my phone.
A lot of the things, the stories that were within that movie were things that he really identified with being in the Air Force. And so it was kind of just a sweet thing of watching this movie and remembering my dad. So hopefully y'all out there have had times to think about your dad or think about those mentors that have been in your family. And anyway, so that's good this morning.
There we go.
Okay, and now Karen, it's conflicting with the sound here, girl. we're picking up your phone on the Facebook. All right, so All right, I think that's it for this morning. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Jen.
Yes, thank you.
And y'all have a great week. And remember that to go out this week and make a difference, that life is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of what?
Choice.
Okay, I'll turn it off. Choose for having me on.
Choose wisely. Go out, make it a fabulous week, and do something for somebody else this week. Just do something random. Just go out and do something random, random act of kindness, random something, just to shake things up a little bit this week. All righty? Take care. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have a great week. Bye-bye.